Eddie the magic monk. Eddie the magic monk. Eddie the magic monk. Eddie the magic monk.
Hey guys, it's Eddie the Magic Monk here. Welcome to another Excel lesson where we go through some more shortcuts. Hopefully you saw my last lesson on navigation shortcuts. We're going to extend more on that, and we're going to talk about some selection shortcuts. So selection shortcuts deals with how you can select things. So if you highlight with the mouse, obviously it's the easiest way to select, but this is a very small section of the table. If you have a look down at my data, so I'm more prepared this time, I've got a lot of data. This data is 10,800 records or rows long. So there's a lot of data. So if you try to select with your mouse, okay, you start from here and you just go down, it'll take you a very long time to get to the bottom. So this is not a very good way of selecting, right? You can see it's still scrolling down. You could get even more data than this. This is just an example. So how do you select a lot of data? Okay, so let's start from the basics. So obviously last lesson we talked about using your arrow keys to move the cell around. Now here's a little trick. You can simply hold down Shift and move along with your arrow keys. And you can see that it'll actually expand the selection. Okay, it'll expand the selection. Okay, now last lesson when we did the navigation tutorial, you also learned that if you hold down Control and move the arrow keys, you actually jump to the boundary of the current data region. So I press Control right and you can see it's jumped to the end of this row. Control left is jump back. Now if you hold down Shift as well as Control, so you go Control Shift right, you can actually select everything along your jump. So that's really useful. So if you press Shift down, you'll see it's going to take you a very long time to go down to the bottom. But if you hold down Control as well as Shift and then press down, you select the whole column, which is 10,800 rows long. Now if you see I scroll along with the mouse, every row is selected. Right, so that's really useful. Right, so you can go Control Shift down, select everything, and then Control Shift right, and now we have the whole thing selected. The whole table was selected. Okay, so that's, if you didn't learn anything else, you learn the Control and the Shift, because those are very useful shortcuts. Okay, now let's talk about page up and down. So if you just go page up and down, you will scroll along the page up and down vertically. Right? So now if you hold down Shift and go up and down, page up and page down, you will select things as well. So let's say you select up to here, and now I'm going to release the Shift key. Oops, sorry, it actually moves the cell, moves the active cell with it when you press the page up and page down. So if you press Shift and go page down, it selects things, and to make sure they're selected, I'm just gonna move back with my mouse to have a quick look. You can see they're all selected. Okay, so that's the point of using Shift and page down. Now if you want to select to the right, you can also press Alt and page up and down. So if you guys remember from last tutorial, when you press Alt page down, you scroll to the right for a page. So you can see I'm just going to copy some data, paste it to the right so you can see it. Okay, so now I have this data on the right hand side as well. So if you press Alt page down, oops, that didn't go well. Alt page down, it scrolls to the right. Okay, so I'm just going right and left by going Alt page up and page down. Now if you hold down Shift with Alt and you press page up or page down, it'll select the cells with it. So I'm going to scroll back and you can see it's selected all of that. Okay, similarly, if I start from here and I press Alt Shift page up, it'll select things to the left. Okay, now similarly, if you just go Shift page down, it'll just select things vertically, and then you can Shift page down, select some things, Alt Shift page down, select to the right, or you can go Shift page down. Oops, I think I've confused it. Shift page down, and then hold down the Shift key and go to the right, or something like that, and you can select some more stuff. Okay, so that's the purpose of the Alt key. The Alt key is simply changing from vertically with the page up and down to horizontally scrolling to the right of the page. Okay, so now let's say I'm over here and I want to highlight everything to the start of the row. So wherever you are, you can just press Shift Home and it'll highlight everything to the start. Okay, so it's pretty much the same as Control Shift Left. Pretty much the same, but the difference is, let's say you split up the data. So I have a break in the data region. Control Shift Left will only get to here. Okay, and then if you press it again, it'll go to the boundary of the data region. But if you go Shift Home, it just goes to the start of the row straight away. So Shift Home will go to the start of the row. Okay, next you want to go Control Shift Home. All right, what does that do? So let's say I am all the way down here in the bottom of the table. Okay, I can go Control Shift Home, and that'll go right back to the start of the table. Everything is selected, right, excluding the stuff that I copied over. Let's get rid of that. I just press delete, get rid of that. So at any point in the table, let's say I go to a random point, you go Control Shift Home, it'll select everything to the start of your whole table. Right, and then similarly, if you go anywhere on the table and you go Control Shift End, it'll go right down to the bottom right of the table. Right, everything's selected. Now I'm just going to clear this stuff because I created some stuff earlier, but so from here, Control Shift End, it's still selecting that because I typed in that area before. But to get rid of these blank cells, I'm just going to try Shift Left, and that will change the selection. Okay, so basically Home goes to the start of the row. Right, Home goes to the start of the row. Control Home goes to the start of the table, and Control Shift Home will select everything to the start of the table. Control Shift End will select everything to the end of the table. All right, and then so that's basically it. The last thing that I want to talk about is F8. What happens when you press F8? You can see it says extend selection. Extend selection. Current selection will be extended to include newly selected cells. So from here, if you click anything else, it'll select them. Okay, So what that means is, let's say I get rid of F8. Now it just selects, but let's say I want to select from here all the way to, let's say, here. Instead of just clicking on it, I can press F8 and then I click. So that will extend it. It'll select up to there. So that's what F8 does. Toggle the extend selection mode. So let's get rid of that. Okay, so these are basically the selection shortcuts for extending the selection.